As far as the whole squad is concerned, I'm still a little bit skeptical to say they'll be in the top 6. I do think top 10 is in the cards for them, and maybe they can slide into the playoff.
The championship is back. Birmingham City and Ipswich Town. That's going to be a very interesting one, with Birmingham taking on a team that was just relegated from the Premier League. Coventry and Frank Lampard get going on Saturday. Sheffield United, certainly one of the favorites. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Golazo. All matches are right here on Paramount Plus. Alex, Perlman and Stefano Fusaro back with you. And Stefano, this is an exciting time, right? The championship for me holds a lot of value because there's a huge difference between the second league in England and the top one, of course, the Premier League. And this is going to be really interesting to see if those teams that were just relegated can potentially get their way back up.
It's always so fun, and I think we could expect drama as usual. This is one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive league in the world, where you really don't know on any given day what you're going to get. Last year we had a two-team race with Leeds and Burnley, but this year I think it's extremely unpredictable. I think there's a ton of teams that could end up in those top 3 spots and battling in the playoff as well in the top 6. So I do think it's going to be, again, one of those dramatic seasons where week in and week out you kind of don't know what to expect, and you can have a lot of teams that will score a lot of goals, a lot of teams that will concede a lot of goals, and I do think, like ever, it's always going to be a battle down to the very end of the season, as we've come to expect in the championship.
Yeah. Why don't we start with Wrexham? Wrexham, they are now in the championship. They've been promoted 3 straight years in the top 5 divisions in England. That had never happened before. And of course, with all the money and the publicity coming from Ryan Reynolds, this is a club that everybody has circled. What can they possibly do, though? Phil Parkinson's going to be back managing in the championship, where he hasn't exactly had the best record.
No, look, I mean, it's been incredible. Their story is now that basically the entire world is aware of, and what they've done for 3 straight promotions, it really is historic. But this year, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get that other promotion.
Back down to earth.
A little bit back down to earth, but still, look, you got to give them credit, because a lot of people think, oh, well, it's the finances that they were able to continue to rise. But in reality, last year they didn't spend like a League One club. They weren't at the top spenders in that league, and still were able to find promotion into the championship. And they've done well this summer, adding all of these players, adding John Windus, I think, is a massive deal. Kiefer Moore, a proven goal scorer in the championship, and that goes along with a team that already has a ton of camaraderie, feels good together after their recent history, and have really kind of rallied around themselves, around the circus that is Wrexham, obviously with their superstar owners and the documentary heard around the world, that has really kind of bound this team together and found something special with the fan base and within the players. It'll be a fun season. I don't think they have enough to be promoted, but I think just to be in the championship and to be competitive in the championship is success already for this Wrexham side.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, and Rob McElhenney would kill me if I didn't mention him in as a co-owner along with Ryan Reynolds. Of course, I'm sure he always feels like the forgotten one. This is a team, though, that has added a lot of pieces, and they still have guys like Elliot Lee and Jacob Mendy and Ali Palmer, who, of course, if you watch Welcome to Wrexham, you've probably fallen in love with. Kiefer Moore, you mentioned it. That's a key signing. Do they have enough in your mind, though, to put up not only a charge, but also to stay out of League One and have another season in the championship coming up?
I do think the signings that they've had is enough to get them to safety. I don't think that they'll be battling relegation back to League One. I do think they'll be a mid-table side that will be battling, that will give some teams some difficult games for sure. As far as the whole squad is concerned, I'm still a little bit skeptical to say they'll be in the top 6. I do think top 10 is in the cards for them, and maybe they can slide into the playoff as that 5th or 6th team in the championship. But again, there's so much that is really unpredictable in this league this year. So I do, it is difficult to kind of predict, but they will be a side that I think will fight and give teams a difficult time, and they will score goals this year with Kiefer Moore, with Josh Windus in this side. I do think that they'll have good offensive production.
Well, also coming up, Birmingham City, and under Chris Davies, this is a team that is kind of on the rise. Of course, it's a very different life when you go from League One to the Championship. But now you kind of wonder, along with Wrexham, it's going to be maybe a rude awakening a little bit for a team like Birmingham City. They start with Ipswich, who, of course, is coming from the Premier League with the parachute payment, all of that. How do you see Birmingham City faring under Chris Davies?
Look, they have players that can produce for them. Stansfield, Iwata, Clara. These are players that have already been proven to score in League One and to be able to produce for this team to move them up. It is not going to be easy, like we mentioned, and we saw there's been clips going around of Tom Brady, minority owner in this team, playing his own part, playing his own documentary, showing his celebrity around the club that he is a part owner of. And I think that will benefit the team as far as fans, as far as support from around the world. But when it gets down to the players on the pitch, I think that they are still a bit behind from where they need to be a true contender in the championship. But again, this is a team that now got used to winning last season, will have that kind of that chip on their shoulder to be able to be a team that can compete and can fight for spots in the championship. So it'll be interesting. They do have a couple of new signings with Gray, Doyle. These are players that can really help them as far as completing their squad and trying to compete in the championship.
How about Coventry? This is a team that has gotten used to life in the championship. It's going to be their sixth season coming up. Frank Lampard, year number 2 at the helm. A late surge got them into the playoff last year, lost to Sunderland, of course, we saw in the semis. This is a team, though, that under Lampard, of course, didn't have the best time at Chelsea starting off his managerial career. But what do we see now from this Coventry team that is going to have their eyes once again on a potential playoff spot, if not automatic contribution up to the Premier League? I do think that despite how it ended for Frank Lampard and Coventry City last year, which is obviously disappointing, losing to Sunderland in the playoff, I do think that he learned a lot from that experience, and I do think that was probably the best we've seen from Frank Lampard as far as managing a team from really the depths in that league all the way up to a playoff promotion spot, which I think was a massive achievement for them. And I think that they can build on that. I think they need to tighten up their defense because that was a clear issue last season for them. And they need to get that same type of production from Haji Wright, from Rudoni. They need to get that offensive production if they want to have the same type of success. Most importantly, he needs to figure out his defense and how they were going to defend against the likes of the top scoring teams in the championship, which will definitely be a challenge for them this upcoming season. But I have more confidence in Super Frank after last year. And I do still believe that he can lead this team to a playoff spot. I don't know if direct promotion is a realistic goal, but I do think they can be back in the playoff. And once you get in there, as we know, watching Sunderland last year, anything can happen. Yeah, it really can. And I think Kane Kessler-Hayden from Villa should make an impact as well, scoring goals with Frank Lampard at the helm. He's kind of now getting a little bit more into his comfortability. And now we get to the top 3 teams, according to Stefano Fusaro, in this championship season. Who do you got? Who's going up?
So, we write this down now because it likely won't happen this way because I'm predicting this almost a year before it happens. But let's go with Southampton. Their activity, they've prioritized income over true expansion of their roster. They're trimming the squad, cashing in on a lot of their assets. I do believe that the job that Will Still has done, a 32-year-old manager getting in here and trying to really implement his style from the beginning, I think will be massive for this team. They have a camaraderie around them already. It was a difficult season, obviously, being relegated back to the championship. But this is a team that's prided themselves on building players up and continuing to develop those players. Some of the signings here, some of the ingoings and outgoings from this team as well. Damian Downs, I think, is a fantastic signing for them. Joshua Kwarshi as well. It'll be interesting to see how they implement these players. But Will Still, I think, will get this team at least into a playoff spot and be able to find promotion back to the Premier League, even though it might not last too long if they do. Blackburn Rovers. Okay, this is a little bit, this is kind of one that I fell in love with last year because Blackburn came oh so close to the playoff last year. This is a historic club that has obviously won tons of trophies in the Premier League, well, in the English Championship years ago as well. So this is one that I would like to see them come back. John Eustace is gone. He is now managing at Derby County, but the club is strengthened defensively, midfield. They have depth. They have budget signings. This is a team now that did let some of the veteran departures go, and now under Valerian Ismail, their new manager, will implement ideas to get them to kind of develop them a little bit more and push them forward a little bit more, and relying on what they came so close last year, and having that motivation to be so close, I think will push them forward. They will be a team to be reckoned with this year in the championship. And finally, Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town, of course, dropped down into the championship. This is, again, a team under Kieran McKenna that their summer window, it's been strategic, in my opinion. They've remained strong thanks to Liam Delap and their sale. They were able to kind of blend youthful ambition with Matsuya. Kipre has now signed on that team. So I do think this is another side that, because of their experience in the Premier League, that'll come down back to the championship, and they'll be confident going into several games, being able to score goals. Even without Liam Delap, they were able to find goal scorers and other players to replace that.
No Sheffield United, though.
I don't like the summer that they had.
Interesting.
And I think a lot of changes at that club will be fighting for it. But I think all the changes at that club, I'm not very optimistic about it.
Well, we're looking forward to the start of it. Wrexham gets going against Southampton. That is one to circle. But you got to wake up early, 7:30 a.m. on the East Coast.